Okay, so if you will please look with me on the page that says two-step multiplication using algorithms with all of my steps, not the guided practice. We're looking at the notes side. At the very top, it says tips for multiplying. First, you have to memorize your facts. So if there are any multiplication facts that you still do not have memorized yet, you've got to memorize your facts. If you need flashcards, I have some. You're welcome to make your own flashcards. You can play multiplication war at home with a regular deck of cards with a family member. There's lots of things you can do to practice your multiplication facts. You've got to have those memorized. Second, use zero, the hero. Second, line up the numbers. Making sure your numbers are lined up is incredibly important. Where most mistakes are made is because our numbers and our work starts to get a little sloppy and slanted, and we start to lose our place and we forget what number goes where. Then we need to make sure that we write neatly. If I'm writing super sloppy and it's all over my paper, you're going to get lost. I'm going to get lost trying to figure out what you were doing. And then we can use a grid. So on some of your practice, you notice that there were boxes. Some of our practice, it's on grid paper. It's really helpful for multiplying to make sure that everything stays in line and in order. Okay, so let's look at 2-digit by 2-digit multiplication. My steps for multiplying 2-digit number by a 2-digit number is first, we do the ones times the ones. So we always start in the right column. When I say ones, I'm talking about this 6 times the 2. So I'm going to do 6 times 2, which is 12, and I have to carry the 1. Then I want to multiply the ones, this 6, by the tens digit. So I'm going to go straight up here over to the tens, which is 48 plus the 1 that I carried, and so that's 49. Very good. Okay, now, the next step. I want to place 0 the hero in the ones place. I've already used my ones digit here, 6, to every single number on top. So I need to use 0 the hero here as a placeholder. And I'm going to go ahead and mark out this 6 and this 1. Notice I'm using a different color. I want it to stand out to you guys. I want you to understand that the red was all my ones digit. The blue is now where I'm going to start multiplying my tens digit, the number 3. Okay, so now I'm going to take the 3, which is in the tens digit, and I'm going to multiply it over here first to the 2 in the ones digit. 3 times 2 is 6. Then I multiply it times the tens digit. 3 times 8 is 24. There's nothing that I carried over, so it's just 24. Now, notice I'm using a third color. Why? Because it's the second part, or the third part to my problem.
Because you have to add it.
I got to add them together. So I call each of these a partial product. 492 is part of my product. 2,460 is part of my product, but when I add them together, they make my final product. So this is going to be a 2, 15 carry the 1, that's a 9, and a 2. So 2,952. So down here, I was just talking about partial products. What 2 numbers are my partial products? Do y'all remember? I just explained to you what my partial products are. What 2 numbers are my partial products? What did I add together?
82 and 36.
I didn't add those together. 492 is one partial product, and 2,460 is the other partial product. With my partial products, I call it partial because it's part of the product. You're not done multiplying once you get the first row. Okay, you still have to multiply this digit times both of the top numbers as well. Okay, now I'm going to come over here and we're going to do 4 digit by 1 digit. 6 times 4, I'm multiplying the ones by the ones place. So that's 24 and carry the 2. Now I'm going to do 6 times 5, which is 30 plus the 2 that I carried, so that's 32, carry the 3. 6 times 0 is 0, add the 3 is 3. And then last but not least, 6 times 9 is 54. So 54,324. Remember 0 facts. Anything times 0 is going to equal 0. So in this case, when I did 6 times 0 here, that equaled 0, but I cannot forget to add whatever I had carried. So it was 0 plus 3. Okay, let's try one more. 3,274 times 9. 9 times 4 is 36. Got to carry this 3 up here. Then 9 and 7 make 63 plus the 3.
66.
66, carry the 6. 9 times 2 is 18. Plus 6 is 24. Carry the 2. And then last but not least, 9 times 3 is 27 plus 2 is 29. So my answer is 29,466. Now, let's do some practice on the next side. More practice. Practice, practice, practice. Okay. The bell tower on the college campus chimes 4 times every hour. 4 times every hour. It chimes 24 hours every day and 7 days a week. How many times does the bell tower chime in 3 weeks? Lots of information here. Lots of numbers that are not written in numerical form. They're written how? Word form. Don't be tricked, don't be fooled. Don't look at that and be like, oh, I only have one number. I can't solve this problem. No, actually, how many numbers do we have? We have 4, 24, 7, and 3. We've got a lot of numbers in there. Only one stands out because it's a numerical form. Okay, so what do we know? We know that the bell tower chimes 4 times every hour. Okay. It chimes 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. So how many times is the bell tower going to chime in 3 weeks? So what we need to figure out is how many times it chimes in what? A day. So what do I do?
4 times 24.
24. I'm going to label this. So in one day, it's 24 times 4. Okay, why? Because it says 4 times every hour, and there are 24 hours every day. So we're going to start with 24 times 4. Very good. So in one day, it chimes 96 times. In 1 week, how many days is that? 7. So I've got to do 96 times what?
23. There's 30 weeks, so.
Well, hold on. Okay, somebody's saying 21. If I want to go ahead and combine 7 and 3, I can. Okay? Or you can break it up and do in 1 week 96 times 7 and then do times 3 later. Okay? That's what's cool about math. There's always more than one way to solve a math problem. Okay? Some people are looking at this ahead and they're like, I'd rather just do it all in one step. I want to do 96 times 21. Some people are like, I like 1-digit numbers. I'd rather do 96 times 7 first, then take that answer and multiply it by 3. Okay, it's completely up to you. So go ahead and solve this problem how you would like to solve it, and then we'll check it together. Okay, so on this, if you raise your hand if you did 96 times 7 first. Okay, cool. So if I do that, then I'm going to have 63 plus 4, 67, 672. And then I got to take that number, 672, and multiply it by 3 because it's for 3 weeks. So once I do that, I end up with 2016. But if you decided to go ahead and try 2 digit by 2 digits, then 1 times 6 is 6, 1 times 9 is 9. I hold my ones place with a 0 the hero placeholder, and then do 2 times 6 is 12, and 2 times 9 is 18, plus the 1 that I carried for 19. Add those together. And what do you notice? You get the same thing. You pick one. Okay, I'm going to leave that up there. And let's look at number 2. Number 2 says Samantha sold 5,698 raffle tickets and Asher sold twice as many as Samantha. Twice as many is a key word. What does it mean? Double or times 2, right? Josh sold 852 less than Asher. So how many raffle tickets did Josh sell? So we have to know what Asher sold, so that means we've got to do some math before we can figure out what Josh sold. Okay, so Samantha sold 5,698. Asher sold twice as many. So what do I need to do first?
Multiply
5. Very good. I want to multiply 5,698 times 2. So that's the very first thing that I'm going to do. And I get 11,396. Now, who is this representing? Samantha sold this many. Is it Josh or Asher? Asher. Okay. What do we know about Josh?
He sold 852 less than us.
Mm-hmm. So what do I need to do now?
11,000 subtract 11,296
Okay, so I want to subtract 852 from 11,396. So that's 4, 4. Uh-oh, I can't subtract 3 minus 8, so I have to borrow and regroup. 13 minus 8 is 5, and then 0 and 1. So how many raffle tickets did Josh sell? 10,544 what? Tickets. Do you see your answer on the left?
Yes.
B. Oh, I didn't circle my top one up here. C. Okay, one more example together. Lots of problem solving. The hardware store sold 239 shovels, wow, in October, and 397 shovels in November. Twice as many shovels were sold in December than in October. So how many shovels were sold in December? Okay, twice as many shovels sold in December than October. So what do I need to do?
239 times 2.
Okay, do I have any extra information that I don't need?
No.
This right here. I don't need that. I don't need to know anything about November. All I need to know is October, and I'm solving for December because twice as many shovels were sold in December. So 239 times 2, that's 18. Carry the 1. makes that 7 and 4. So C, 478. Okay, we're also going to do notes on problem solving with multiplication. So I'm going to pass out your notes pages. I want you to go ahead and update your table of contents while you're waiting for your notes pages to get delivered to your tables, and then you can glue them in once you receive them. Okay, you should hopefully have your notes glued in on pages 32 and 33. Is that right?
I don't have that one.
The practice page? All right. So you should have these notes glued in on pages 32 and 33. I realize step 1 tells you 30 and 31. Sorry, I just caught that. So they should be on 32 and 33. Okay, we're going to be looking at our very first page of notes today, which is called Problem Solving with Multiplication. So we just did a little bit on our standard algorithm, multiplying 2-digit by 2-digit numbers. But the thing that you need to know is you've got to understand how to set up multiplication equations from word problems. How do I do that? First, I have to read and sometimes reread the problem. I really need to understand, what is the question asking me? I will tell you, when I was your age and even older going through school, I usually cannot read a math problem one time and know exactly what it's asking me to do. I more oftentimes had to reread it to figure out what it was asking me to do. So reread the question. Understand and be sure you understand what the question is asking you to do. Then, step 2, identify the data, which could be numbers in written form and standard form. Now we've talked about written and standard form. Standard form is when it looks like just a bunch of digits. It's numerically written. But it can also be written in word form or what we call written form. So be on the lookout for that. Don't be fooled. Don't think that just because you only see one number like we did on our practice before, where we saw the number like 42 or something, don't think that that's the only number in the problem. There were 3 other numbers listed there as well. Then you can eliminate extra info. And what method do we use for this? What do I call it? Where we have to identify numbers, identify the question, eliminate extra information, keywords. What is that called? It starts with the C.
Commutative property.
It's 5 letters. When I say I want you to blank a problem, circle the numbers,
Extra.
underline the question.
Cube.
Cubes. Good.
Oh, I knew it.
We call it cubes. So everything that it's talking about right here, we use cubes. Okay, so we're going to practice 3 problem-solving questions. Looking at the first one, it says, Maxine has 425 beads and Millie has 3 times as many. Maxine has 425. Millie has 3 times as many as Maxine. Which equation shows the total number of beads both girls have? Total is also a key word. Y'all stop, please. Okay, so let's look below where it says choose the best answer and explain. If I look at my answer choices, I have answer choice A, which is 425 times 3 equals some unknown. Okay, is that what I would do to solve this problem? Would I do 425 and then multiply it by 3?
Yes. Yes, you can.
I'm looking for an equation that shows the total number of beads that both girls have. Does that show both girls? Mm-mm. It doesn't show both girls. The amounts are not equal. Okay, so we're going to put, oops, sorry. I'm going to mark this out, and I'm going to say, nope, amounts not equal. I only have one amount. Okay, I have 425 plus 425 plus 425.
Yeah, it works. That's the same thing as 425 plus 3.
Does it show me both amounts that each girl would have?
No.
Total. All it is showing me is how many Millie would have, because it says Millie has 3 times as many as Maxine. So that would tell me how many Millie has by doing repeated addition. 425, 425, 425. That's how much Millie has, but not both girls total together, like my question is asking me. So not both girls. Okay, C has 425, which represents Maxine's beads, plus 425 times 3. Would that give me the total number of beads that both girls have?
Yeah.
What does 425 represent? The beads for who?
No.
Maxine. Does 425 times 3 represent the beads of Millie? Somebody said yes. Why?
Because if you think about it, whenever it said Millie has Maxine, Millie has 3 times as many as Maxine, and Maxine had 425, and whenever it says 425 times 3, that's 3 times as many.
Very good. So I've got my Maxine total, and I have my Millie total. So if I were to combine those together, would I have the total number of beads both girls have?
Yes.
Yes, I would. What's wrong with the last option? I've got 3 times 425, but it says plus 3. What should I actually be adding? I should be adding what Maxine has, which is 425. So this gives me Millie, but not Maxine. Okay, see how we're going through each answer choice and we're justifying why or why it does not work. Why it does or why it does not work. Okay, let's look at the next question over. Did we even do any math on that? No, we didn't even do any math. We were just choosing the equation that represents the problem. We didn't have to do any math. We just had to read carefully and make sure we understood each part of the equations. Okay, let's look at the second one over here. I'm going to use a different color for this column. 2 golf teams, I already have a number. 2 golf teams went to a summer training camp. Here's the details. $50 per golfer. JV team has 8 golfers. Varsity team, 12 golfers. What was the total cost for both teams? Okay, let's look at this. If I did 50 times 8, it's $50 per golfer.
140.
So look at answer choice A. I have 50 times 8. Okay, what would that be representing? The cost for which team? JV or for varsity? JV, very good, because it tells me right here I have 8 golfers on JV. So I would do 50 times 8 to figure out how much money for JV. Then it says plus 50 times 12. What would 50 times 12 be representing? Varsity. If I added those together, would I have the total cost for both teams? Yes, I would. Weird, but the very first answer choice looks like it's my answer. So let's keep looking and make sure that it actually is my answer. B says 8 times 12. Well, what is 8 times 12? 8 represents
74.
golfers, like the JV golfers. What does 12 represent? Varsity golfers. Good. Am I multiplying the number of JV golfers times the varsity golfers? No, that doesn't make sense because I'm multiplying players. I don't want to multiply the players. And this is 2 times the cost. I don't need to do 50 times 50. That's silly. C tells me 20. Where'd 20 come from? I don't even know. Times 50 times 10. Okay, where do you think the 20 came from? What do you think they did to get the 20? That's not up there, but they did something to get 20. What did they do?
12 plus 8.
They did 12 plus 8. They did the team total. When she gets back. 50, that's just one cost. But where in the world did the 10, why are we doing 50 times 10? No idea. The 10, I don't even know where that 10 came from. There's no 10 anywhere up there. So that's wrong. Nope. And then 58 plus 62. What did they do here?
They put the 50 and the 8 together.
How did they put them together? What operation did they use?
Plus.
Addition, multiplication, subtraction, or division? How did they?
Addition.
Addition. They added. That's way wrong. Okay, one last problem to look at. Sally. Sally made a hair bow for herself and one for each of her 3 friends. So herself and one for each of her 3 friends. Each bow used 42 inches of ribbon. The ribbon was sold in a 200-inch spool. What's a spool? Anybody know? Sometimes vocabulary and word problems can throw us off because we get caught up on what in the world is that even? And you start trying to figure out like what this word is, and then you lose track of what you're supposed to be doing. A spool is the thing that the ribbon is wrapped around. So if you've ever seen your mom or grandma or aunt, anybody like wrapping presents and they have ribbon, it's the round circle thing that the ribbon is wound
Like
up
the
on.
cardboard?
That's called a spool. So the ribbon, yeah, it's cardboard. The ribbon was sold in a 200-inch spool. Which diagram shows how much ribbon Sally had extra? Okay, do you see this little N right here next to ribbon?
Yeah.
That's telling you that they're going to use the letter N to represent my unknown amount of ribbon. So when you're looking at your answer choices, anywhere where you see an N, that's the unknown amount of ribbon that we're trying to figure out, okay? So are we actually solving this problem?
Yeah.
No. Have we solved any of these problems? Nuh-uh. We haven't actually solved any of them. We're choosing the equation that I would use that would work to solve the problem. Okay. So looking at A, it says 42 and N together should be 200. Does that make sense? 42 and the amount of ribbon should be 200. No, because no. That would only be for one bow. Okay, so that's not going to work. So this is only for one bow. That won't work. Okay, if I do 42, 42, 42, and then N, my extra, all together that should equal 200. Does that make sense?
No.
This is ribbon. For how many bows?
1.
Each bow used 42 inches of ribbon. The ribbon was sold in a 200-inch spool. Which diagram shows how much ribbon Sally had extra? So if she made 3 for her friends and then she made 1 for herself, like with the extra, whatever's left over, this should show me ribbon for 4 bows. Okay, we're unsure on this. Let's look at C. 42, 42, and 42. Is that everything that I need? Do you see the letter N anywhere representing the extra? Nope. There's no extra here. So we have to mark C out because there's nothing for any extra ribbon. And then D is 42 and 20 together makes the extra ribbon. So I have 42 inches for one bow, 20, don't know where 20 came from, but it's saying together it should be the extra amount of ribbon. Does that make sense? No, that doesn't make sense. B is the correct answer. Okay, let's look at our practice on the next page. We actually get to do some solving on this one. So using the strategies that we've learned, we're going to actually solve some problems. Number 1 says Nora bakes 6 batches of cookies, and each batch has 124 cookies. She bakes 3 more batches with 88 cookies in each batch. How many total cookies did Nora bake? That's a lot of information. I'm like exhausted just thinking about it. It's a lot of stuff. So we've got 6 batches of cookies. Each batch has 124 cookies. Okay, how do we figure out how many cookies that is? 6 batches.
6 times 124.
Okay, each batch has 124 cookies in it. I could do repeated addition. Is that the most efficient and quickest way?
Or you can multiply 6 times 124.
Yes, I want to do 124 times 6. It's a lot quicker than doing 124 plus 124 plus 124 plus 124 plus 124 plus 124. Okay? That is a time waster. It's a lot quicker to just do 124 cookies times 6 batches to figure out how many cookies. So that's 24, carry the 2. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 2 is 14, carry the 1. 6 times 1 is 6, plus the 1, is 7. Yes, ma'am.
Can Elise come to my desk for a moment, please?
Yep.
She's in Miss.
Oh, wait, she's in Miss Amon's class.
Oh, perfect. I'll call them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have 744 now. She bakes 3 more batches with 88 cookies in each batch. So now what do I do?
She corrected you.
Now what do I do? Math. Now what do I do? She bakes 3 more batches with 88 cookies. Yes. So 88 times 3, 24, and then that's 26. So now what do I do with each of these? Yeah, because it says how many total. So I'm going to do 744 plus 264, and it should be C. If I write, you write. You should have everything I have. Okay, number 2. Ryan shopped for school supplies and bought 3 notebooks for $2 each, 7 folders for $1 each, 2 sets of markers for $4 each, and 3 binders for $6 each. How much did Ryan spend on school supplies? Okay, so let's go in order from how it's listed so I can make sure I get everything down. 3 notebooks for $2 each. How much is that?
6.
3 times 2, so that's 6. This is for the notebooks. I'm going to put NB. Then I have folders. How much did she spend on folders? 7 times $1 each, so $7 for folders. M for markers. She bought 2 sets of markers for $4 each, so what do I do to get that answer? 2 times 4, good. So how much money? Good. And then binders are last, and I have 3 binders for $6 each. So now I want to figure out how much he spent on school supplies. So I'm going to add all of that together. 18, 8, 7, 6. What do I get?
39.
Very good. And that's, did I do that? Oh, 30, sorry. I wrote the wrong thing. It's 29, but I wrote the wrong thing. So $39. Okay. Last one for the day. And this will be all we do. It's time to go. Victoria has 4,569 pennies. It's a lot of pennies. Her brother Julian has twice as many. That could either be a keyword or a number, because we know that twice means 2. If they put their pennies together, how many pennies will they have in all?
4,569
Times 2, okay. So 9,138 is how much Julian has. If they put their pennies together and Victoria has 4,569, don't be fooled. My answer is not 9,138. That's just how many pennies Julian has. Now I need to do what?
Add
Yeah.
Victoria's and Julia's.
Exactly, I gotta add them together. So once I add Victoria's to Julian's, I have 13,707 pennies. Lots of good problem-solving strategies, lots of good problems involving multiplication. Tomorrow, I'm going to pass back your, or actually, do you have them? Did you keep them? Mm-hmm. All right, tomorrow we're going to spend a little bit of time checking over your work, making sure that we did. Okay, then if you feel like you need to check your work, spend time tonight. You don't have a homework assignment, but I'm going to give you an extra night to double check over everything because we're going to grade it tomorrow. Okay, so we're grading everything tomorrow, so be sure you feel good about it tonight.